So have you ever wondered what would happen if you took a guy who's done an audio podcast for, I don't know, about 20 years, maybe like 5,000 plus episodes, and say, put him in the studio, turn the lights on, say, push all the buttons yourself, and do everything in one take from start to finish for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, all your audio shows on one take. What could happen? We're about ready to find out. This is the Daily Boost recording of the recording. That may not be the best search engine optimized wording for the show. The Daily Boost. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Hi, by the way, it's me, Scott Smith. Yeah, I've been doing this a long time, and my audience was saying, hey, man, get on YouTube. We got to go on YouTube. I think, yeah, great. You go wait till I'm old, I'm fat, I have gray hair, and now I got to go on YouTube? Seriously? Beauty is such great tyranny, and I still got to rise to the challenge? I'm actually okay with it. So I said, why not? So I thought, let's make it a challenge. Let's make it fun. Let's see if I can drop some wisdom bombs on you, not only during the podcast, but also in between the podcasts as well. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm going to push the button. We're going to record it. There's going to be no editing. We're not going to go backwards. We're just going to do our thing. And this is kind of fun. I'm actually having a good time with this because this is kind of what I've done for like 40 years now. Kind of takes me back to the very beginning days of radio when I kind of played the live game, right? It's kind of like that. So we'll see what happens. Want to do one? I had a conversation with a client this past week, and he mentioned the A word. No, it's not that word. No, he didn't call me an ass. No, the A word is accountability. He said, Scott, can you hold me accountable? And anytime somebody asks me to hold him accountable, I go, no, I do. But he knew that. And we'll talk about that story here in a second here, because I thought this would be a good podcast because it's the time of the year when accountability starts to pop up, right? It's like, man, if I could just do better next year and how am I going to do that and everything else. So we'll talk about that right now. So I'm going to go dark on this thing. Hopefully I'll push all the buttons in the right time. I actually going to start my timer right now so I can somewhere keep it close to 9 minutes because there's a lot going on here, but let's see what happens. Okay. Well, let's have some fun here. So have you ever wished that somebody would hold you accountable? And have you ever maybe wished that you would hold yourself even more accountable? Have you wished that maybe there was a good combination of the two, or do there need to be two or just one? Answer probably yes. We'll talk about that today.
I need a boost. I need a daily boost. I need a boost. I need a daily boost.
How are you? It is the Daily Boost. My name is Scott Smith, and welcome. Good to have you here today. Fun time of the year in the studio. By the way, if you're listening on any of the platforms on Apple or on Spotify or on iHeart, or amazingly, there's a little app out there called Player FM. We're like really huge on Player FM. Just saw it the other day. It's like, really? You all over there? That's awesome. If you're over there, check that out. And if not, you might want to go to YouTube as well, because what you don't know today is we're on video on YouTube today in a very different way. Because here's the thing. If you are listening right now, you're hearing Monday's show. But on YouTube, they get Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday all at the same time. Now, it's on an individual show because what we did was something different. We decided that, it's my thing, right? I said, what if I came in here and I just did a behind-the-scenes recording of the recording, all the shows, no editing. You know, I don't like to edit because that's such a zoomy millennial thing. Boomers don't edit. We just put it out there. Yeah, okay, boomer. And it was kind of fun. In fact, it is fun because that's what we're doing right now. So go to YouTube and search out Daily Boost Podcast, and you'll see what I mean. So let's talk about being accountable. Let's talk about what that means. Because over the years, I've seen a few things that have I've witnessed, I guess, would be the word. I've seen as well. I've observed dozens and dozens, at this point, maybe even hundreds of people who frankly set themselves up for failure in the accountability world by accepting some seemingly, I think, wise advice. Have you ever heard this? When you set a goal, make it public. Shout it out, proclaim it. Let everybody know that you have set a goal so they can support you. Have you heard that? I think that kind of foobars you when it comes to accountability. And the reason I say this, because in my experience, and that's really all I can account on here, Mike, that's all you can say, right? I'm not going to say, in your experience, I can say that. That's stupid. Dave Ramsey, sorry, I stole your word there. Stupid. But in my experience, it hasn't worked so well for me or my clients, especially in long-term goals. And the reason is because if you think about this, anybody outside of your close relationship, do they really know you that well? Do they know you well enough to understand what you're really doing and really be able to support you, kind of get in there, make you do what you say you want to do? I mean, probably not. I think there are very few of us that have people that really know us that well. In fact, I will go so far as to say, based on what I know, you never know anything about anybody else. It takes me months to figure out stuff about people. So we just don't know. So using a little common sense, I deduce that, man, it makes it really challenging. Challenging to support you in meaningful ways. If you came to me and said, Scott, hold me accountable, and I don't know you that well, it's kind of hard to do it, and you're not going to listen to me anyway. You're not going to accept my support, right? Puts a lot of pressure on everybody. So it doesn't take a lot of thinking, too much thinking, to realize that the best accountability relationships that you have are going to be based on respect and sincere connection. Those are the ones that will have the most impact. Now, that means there's no crowdsourcing, by the way. No crowdsourcing of your accountability. No going out there and saying, oh, Facebook, hold me accountable for this. And I see it all the time. Don't do that. That's silly. My client the other day, we're working on a project with him. And I'd come up with a pretty brilliant solution, I think. And I only say that because I've done it about 20 years and we've talked about it before, but it just, came up in a way that I said, here, do this. And I gave it to him and he said, oh man, it's amazing. He said, but if I'm going to do this, you need to hold me accountable. And now I'm in slow motion. I'm going, no. He goes, I know what you say about accountability. He said, you say that when I ask you to hold me accountable and then I mess up, I'll get mad at you. And you say, when I ask you to hold me accountable, the second time, and you hold me accountable, I say, oh, yeah, man, I'm sorry, it's busy. I'll get to it this week. And then you say, the third time that I mess up and I don't do what I said I was going to do, and then you call me on it and you hold me accountable, the third time is when I say, man, I'm just too busy. Let's give up on this. There's no reason for me to do this coaching, and I'm going to fire you. And he's right on because it's happened to me before. That's what I mean by this. It's like, okay, well, why would I hold you accountable if I'm going to get smacked, right? I'm going to hold him accountable. He's a good guy. And he won't smack me. So the first partner, there's two people involved in accountability, all right? The first one, and the most valuable person that you should be listening to, ready for it? Hang on. You. Listen to yourself. Hold yourself accountable. Accepting responsibility. Oh my, the A word and the R word in one sentence, accountability and responsibility all together. Oh my God. Yeah, I just throw discipline into this and just mess up everybody's day. The A word, accountability, and the ability for you to take responsibility for yourself is your most powerful skill. Years ago, I was talking to some of the ladies that would have their walking buddies in the morning, and they're the boss of themselves like we all are. They can do what they want to do, and they try to do it. And they say, I'm going to get an accountability walking buddy. And I said, are you sure? Oh, yeah, because at 6 o'clock every morning, we're going to get each other out of bed, and we're going to go for a walk, and that's what it's going to be. We're going to do it 5 days a week, and we're going to get in shape this time. I said, are you sure? Oh, yeah. And then one day, their walking buddy, I don't know, maybe they oversleep. Maybe they decide they don't want to walk because they got hungover. Maybe their kid gets sick. I get it. They don't show up. Now, what's going to happen is they don't show up is you're going to do one of two things. Depends on who you are. I don't know which it's going to be. A lot of people I know, and I hate to say this, will say, well, we'll do it tomorrow. Don't worry about it. And you won't go. I'll do something else. Yeah, you sit down and have a coffee and a donut. That's what you do. Other people say, okay, I'm just going to do my thing. Let me tell you, those people who will do that, who will simply say, listen, I appreciate your accountability. I appreciate you holding me to it, the whole thing. But if you don't show up, that's fine. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. You'll be miles ahead of those people and they'll wonder, what the heck did you do? And you say, I showed up, man. Accountability is like that. It's kind of weird. I want you to remember something. You're the boss of you. You can tell yourself what to do. You can tell yourself not to do it. Nobody trusts you and respects you more than you do. Nobody will be willing to call you out more than you will. If you are willing to accept that and say, I'm the boss of me, I'm holding myself accountable for this, whether I like it or not, watch what happens. And then if you go out to somebody else and you say you come to me and you say, hey, Scott, I want you to hold me accountable. These days I will tell you what I will do. I'll say, will you let me do my job? Will you let me hold you accountable? Will you not, beat me up when suddenly you decide you changed your mind? Will you be cool about it? And those who agree to that, I'm happy to hold them accountable and help them along the way. So I want to share this with you because I see this so often. And here's why I see it. Life is difficult. Life gets in the way. Life is not easy. And if it is easy today, it won't be easy tomorrow. Or maybe next month or maybe next year. Your time isn't coming. The only thing we have in life that's going to be constant is a change. Thank you, Winston Churchill. So if you want to get what you want, Frankly, it begins and ends with you. But having an accountability partner is a great way to keep yourself on track in the messy middle as long as you empower them to do their job, right? Hey, join me on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart. If you're on YouTube, just go over there and make sure you get the audio version of this. You will not get the day-to-day version on YouTube, at least for now, so go get the audio version, okay? If I can help you, just send a note to scott@motivationtomove.com. I'm happy to do the best I can. Okay, I'm here. That was okay. That worked. That was all right. I kind of like that. Accountability is one of these things. Boy, it's a big deal. It's a big freaking deal. And as a guy who's, I'm a hot mess of a guy. Listen, I'm very creative. I'm very driven. I'm very disciplined. I've done anything I want to do. I mean, I'm actually in the process of making up a new bucket list right now because I've just done everything. To me, it doesn't matter. I get out of bed one day, I say, oh, let's go do this. And I just go make it happen. My wife says, I want to do this, but you know I'm not going to do it. Can you help me do it? I just do it. And I hold myself accountable to that. And, if I get fat, and I'm very good at getting fat. At one point I weighed 250 pounds. And I don't know how I got there. I don't know. It was weird. I just going out and eating stuff and drinking too much and the whole thing. And I was functional in every possible way. I was just fat. I never forget one day, I was literally eating rolls at a steak restaurant. And some of my students, I used to teach kickboxing classes, they saw me, Scott, how are you? And one of them said, gained a little weight, haven't you? Yeah, I gained about 70 pounds. Well, I'm the boss of me, but in that moment, they were the boss. I said, well, if it's going to happen, I got to do it. Have you ever been in a situation? I was on a phone call with a client this week. I didn't know what I was going to get. It's a kind of advisory relationship. He runs a many multi-million-dollar company, and I serve as an advisor basically to keep his head straight. I don't do the books. I don't do the legal. I don't do that stuff. I'm the guy in the middle, which is pretty much the role I serve for most of my clients. I got on the phone within about 15 seconds. I just saw that we were in a bad place. And so I got him grounded. I got him in the spot. I kind of got him where he needed to be because I knew he was capable of that. And finally I said, have you ever been in that place where you knew it had to be done, but it was so difficult to do? You didn't want to do it, but you knew that you were the only one that could. Trapped in a corner, seems like everybody's poking you, and you're the only one that can get the job done. He said, yeah, I feel like I'm there right now. I said, well, guess what? You're the only one that can get the job done. So let's go get the job done. I start kind of taking him on a path to start to do that and picked him up again, which is what we do. We got to kind of pick him up again. So that's what ended up happening with him when we do things like that. And that's basically saying, hold yourself accountable to the things you need to be doing. You know you can do it. Hold yourself accountable to yourself and go do it. Okay, well, I babbled on about that too much here. All right. And I'm looking at my timer here. Let's do something, I think, with this podcast. This time of year, a lot of people, let me set the framing up here. I'm a practical philosopher. That's what I am. I wouldn't call myself pragmatic, but practical. I just look at the world like that. We're going to be practical about getting things done, and I carry that philosophy day in and day out. So sometimes when the more spiritual woo-woo-ish stuff comes into play, I can't quantify it. I can't quite tell you exactly how it works. And when we get in that realm a little bit, I'm like, whatever. Let's find the stuff that does work. So law of attraction is that for me. Law of attraction is one of these things. And this time of year, we're going to hear a whole lot about law of attraction. I'm hoping next year is going to be better. So let's do a podcast for Tuesday about the law of attraction with a little bit different spin on it, if that's okay. Go ahead and start my timer here for you all watching the show here. Dip the black, start the music, and cross my fingers. Have you ever wished that you could just attract something to you? I mean, really just attract it to you. Just bring it in like that. That'd be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Actually thinking about it, there should be a law. There should be a law called the law of attraction. We're going to make that law.
I need a boost. I need a daily boost. I need a boost. I need a daily boost.
How are you? It is the Daily Boost Podcast. My name is Scott Smith. Thanks for stopping by today. Pushing all the buttons in the YouTube studio. It's not the YouTube studio. It's my studio. It's where I am. If you're listening on all the places, Apple and Spotify and iHeart, and as I think I mentioned, Player FM, that's kind of crazy. We're on Player all over the place. That's where the audio is. Audio is going to be on audio for a while. I haven't quite decided if I'm taking the daily version of the show to YouTube yet, But I am taking the behind the scenes, the recording of the recording. So just go to YouTube and search out Daily Boost Podcast and enjoy the show. So, yeah, attracting things into your life. And it doesn't work. It happens all the time. Law of attraction, by the way, is pretty simple. You know how it is. Know what you want, right? Believe you can do it and get your ass to work. That's it. Did you all catch that? Get a Post-it note, write that down, okay? Know specifically what you want. Believe you can go get it. Not you deserve it. Believe you can make it happen and get to work. Massive imperfect action, make it happen. And most people don't specifically know what they want. Most people don't really believe they can get it. And most people never do the work. So we'll start with that. Darn, that is just so motivating, Scott. But listen, I'm a practical philosopher in what I do. I'm going to tell you how it is and try to be upbeat and positive about it. And for those of you who understand the line in which I walk, you're going to say, damn it, thank goodness somebody finally said it that way. You're welcome. So the law of attraction, we are going to make it a law. It might be already. I'm not really sure about that. Is it official? Did somebody make it an official law, or is it just in a book? Did somebody just make it up? It came from a guru. It was probably made up. So law of attraction, it should have another name. You ready for this? Write this one down too. It should be the law of what you think about most. Yeah, it should be. The law of what you think about most. Like attracts like. What you think about, you get. Who doesn't say that? Every motivational speaker, every guru, every productivity person, every spiritual guru, every single one of them. That's what they say. You know, what a man thinketh, right? It's kind of 101. So it's just kind of true. So let's go inside. Let's take a deep dive right now. For those of you right now that say this all the time, I won't get it because I never do. You are so correct. You're thinking. That's how it's thinketh stuff, right? I won't get it because I never do. That's where your focus is. So whatever you're thinking about is what you're going to get. So let me give you an example. Now, this has happened to me for women over time. The role I play for most of the coaching that I do is I'm kind of an in-between integrated kind of coach. And what I mean by that is typically I'm going to be involved in the business, in the personal life, and maybe the structure of finances, kind of involved in all the parts of life. My goal to kind of make sense of it, string it together, integrate it together, and get a path for it. That's what I end up doing day to day. And I don't know how I got there, but evidently I'm pretty good at it. Nonetheless, I've talked to a lot of men and women, and they're divorced. Now, they could be currently divorced, and currently I've taken them through divorces. I've taken them through marriages. I've kind of done it all. But every now and then I get somebody on the phone who is divorced, and they're looking for another person. Now, this has not happened to me with a man. It has happened to me with a woman. So I'll take it from that point of view. I've had many women get on the phone, and they want some coaching for what's going to happen in their life. And I'll say, okay, so let me ask you this question. What do you want in a man? In your next man, when the man comes in, what do you want in your next man? And you know what they say to me every single time? I'll tell you what I don't want. Boom. And they'll go crazy. I'll just sit back, have a cup of coffee, go out, say hi to my wife, pet my dog, throw the ball for a couple of minutes, come back in. They're still telling me what they don't want. What are they doing? They're dreaming of something new. They're all dreaming of the wonderful relationship because I actually knew, listen, there's only one thing they want. Are you ready for this? There's only one thing every woman wants, right? I want a guy who makes me laugh. And if he can cook, even better. That's kind of it, right? I make my wife laugh a lot. She gave up on cooking a long time ago. I'll tell you what I don't want, though. They're focusing on their current now, what they don't want, instead of what they do want, and therefore they're stuck. Law of attraction, you get what you focus on. You ever wonder why, not you, I'm saying, but your friend or somebody you know gets married, gets divorced, gets married, gets divorced to the same guy. Oh, no, not the same guy, but you know. Yeah. They're focusing on the wrong thing. So in all cases, the secret is to focus your attention and to focus your actions on what you want to attract in all cases. It is the law of what you focus on. The law of attraction, why play the game? I mean, that's kind of 101. That's kind of where you start. I hope, I can believe. It's Christmas season right now. I believe. It's great. I love it. I really love it. I'm positive about that stuff. I know what I want specifically. I believe I can get it, and I'm willing to do the work. But if you're focused in the wrong direction, it's not going to happen. Vision boards, lists of goals, all that kind of stuff. Does it work? Absolutely works. Puts it in your forefront, right? Although I did have a client recently, just very recently, he had a vision board. I said, what's on that board? He said, well, I'll tell you what's not. See, a Harley Davidson. It's not on the board. I said, why is a Harley Davidson not on the board? He said, well, it was on my vision board forever, like 5 years, and I never got it, never went through with it. So I finally took it off my vision board. That's the problem. He's focused on putting stuff on his board, wishing, hoping someday it's going to happen. I said, let me ask you a question. You got a Harley Davidson dealership in your neighborhood or in your city? He goes, yes, we do. I said, well, you seem to make a good enough money. You seem like you can buy one if you wanted to. He said, yes, I can. I said, why don't you just get out your office today and go down and buy yourself a motorcycle? You know what he said to me? I never thought about that. He had some kind of qualification on this thing. He was so busy on his vision board, he forgot to go live the vision. Lists of goals are the same thing. People list these goals as if these goals are something magical. I have a good list. They organize my goals, look at them, everything else, and they sit there and you never get anything done. Pick one, just go do it. Done. Daily journaling. A lot of people do daily journaling. By the way, big fan of daily journaling. Not a real good guy at it. My podcast is kind of my daily journal. I don't actually do or teach daily journaling for my clients that I work with. I teach what we call the Daily Awareness Journal, kind of a different beast. We have 9 questions we ask every single day. We begin with retrospectively looking at yesterday and prospectively creating today, and then we go from there. The reason we're doing that is we're not sitting there going, oh, what did I do, and kind of reflecting on it. It's good to have. I'd like to have the record, right? It's good. You can think a lot of things through. Do not get me wrong. There's a lot of life coaches out there going, man, this guy sucks. No, I'm realistic. I'm realistic about it. I see you all get caught up in that stuff, never getting anything done. You write in your journal all the stuff you think you want. You don't do anything about it. So the law of attraction is truly the law of what you think about. It is magical. It is straightforward. If you're willing to do it, it's going to work for you. So how do we get this to really work? Well, you decide what you want. You believe it's possible. You get to work on it, and your future becomes real. Not tomorrow, becomes real today. Hey, be sure to join me on Apple and Spotify, iHeart, wherever I am in the world. I'm lots of places. Check it out. And if I can help you, you can send me a note, scott@motivationtomove.com. Happy to talk about coaching, consulting, whatever you need to do. If I resonate with you, if you think I can help, reach out. We'll talk about it, okay? In the meantime, I think I'll be back tomorrow because that's what I did for 20 years. Why change now? Okay. It's getting kind of fun, isn't it? Can I tell you a secret? So we're second podcast of the weekend. And these are the same. You'll see if you subscribe to the Daily Boost podcast of all those places I talked about. I'll put the list up for you. If you subscribe in all those places, just search out Daily Boost Scott. You'll see it. These podcasts will be there next week, and they'll sound really different because if you're in the studio, you're watching video, it's a really different experience than when you just have the audio part of this thing. But you want to know the real secret that maybe you don't know about? I rehearsed this for about an hour because I'd never done it in this configuration before, about an hour. And then I went and did it for about an hour and 6 minutes. I did the whole show and I made some really cool mistakes. It was fun, a little embarrassing, actually. It wasn't great. Oh man, I got to do this thing. I've been talking about it too long. Got to get it done. And the clock is ticking and getting it done. And the reason I say that is because when I got done with that hour and 6 minutes, I recognized that I did not hit record. Well, didn't hit record once. I spent all that time recording a pretty cool show and it wasn't there. Now, we'll tell you, if I go a step further, tell you how much I love you. I'm actually pulling out my timer right now as we're talking so I can make sure. Can I ever get the timer on my iPhone? I will tell you that I could have just done it for the audio because the audio did record and it was fine, but the video didn't record. So I got up and got a cup of coffee and I may or may not have gone to the pantry and got something to eat. It may have been sweet. Yes, it was. I petted my dog. I said, got to go back in my office. So I came back and do it all again for you. I'm kind of glad I did. All right. So one of the things that happens this time of year is goals. Goals are kind of weird for me. And the reason they are is because they're just, everybody talks about it all the time and everybody has their own way of doing it. And the whole thing, I'm very simple on my goal setting. Set something really big, scares you a little bit, but you know you can do it if you got focus on it and then just work on that. And we know the science tells us to do that, but goals are goals people talk about all the time. And I understand there are people in my audience that are maybe younger, just getting going a little bit and they're trying to tap into the wisdom. In fact, a lot of my Zoomies and my millennials, I know I make fun of you guys, but I love talking to you. Best conversations I have are with the young kids who just want to bring in, they just want to get the elder knowledge. Can't believe I'm a freaking elder. How'd that happen? They just want the knowledge. And so much so that sometimes I talk about my other clients. I'm like, oh, well, they're kind of grumpy and boomer. Anyway, goals are a big deal these days. And so we like to help out with that a little bit and this time of year and try to get people pushing in the right direction. So I'm going to do a show right now that will do really well as a podcast, and it's going to really open your eyes to a different way of thinking about goal setting. Let's do it. Let me start my timer. and push all the buttons in all the right places. Ready? So have you ever wanted to set a goal? You're going for the goal, but you find that you're kind of maybe getting blown off track. The winds of life are blowing you off track. How do you deal with that? It's going to happen. We're going to talk about how you deal with that today.
I need a boost. I need a daily boost. I need a boost. I need a daily boost.
It is the Daily Boost. How are you? My name is Scott Smith. Good to have you here today. If you're listening on all the places, Apple and Spotify and iHeart and all that kind of stuff, you are missing the show. You really, truly are you're missing the show entirely. And I hate to say that. I'm glad you're here, but I want to encourage you to check it out because I want you to go check out the cool stuff we did. We're on YouTube today. And what I did was this recording of the recording behind the scenes session of the Daily Boost recording process, all in about an hour or so. I don't know how long it's going to be. We're in the middle of it right now. So anyway, I did that. And what you don't know if you haven't seen it yet is I'm making mistakes. Yeah, the people on YouTube are like, why didn't he edit that out? I'm not editing. I'm not going to do it. We're going straight forward. We're going to get this thing done. I'm pulling the guru right out of here. I'm going to get the guru out of my hair. I just aged myself, didn't I? Anyway, good to have you here today. It is goal setting time of the year. And when goal setting time of the year is here, we need to talk about it a little bit. Now, depending on where you are in your goal setting, I believe in goal setting being basically, I believe you should choose something really big and almost a little scary and just something gets you so excited, but you know you can probably do it if you did a couple things. Maybe you can't do it today, but you can get to it. I want it really big. And some people are on the other side of it where they say, I'm going to start small and find my way there. That happens. I had that conversation last week with a client. I said, don't do that. Let's go to the other side, make it big, operate from that place and get it done. So that's what I believe about goal setting. But the reality is, no matter what you do, the wind is going to blow. It is going to blow. And I'm not talking about the weather. I'm talking about the winds of life. All the challenges of life are going to come your way. So whatever you decide to do today, whatever you committed to do today, whatever you wrote down and said, I'm going to do it today. You get up tomorrow morning, well, maybe tomorrow. We're going to work on that a little bit today. So I live in Daytona Beach. Actually, I live in the city of Port Orange. If you've ever been to the East Central Florida, I think they call it. I live in Port Orange. Most people don't know where Port Orange is. If you know where Daytona Beach is, just go down the map a little bit. It's the next city down. That's where we are. It's a beachy town. There's a lot going on here. We have race cars. We have motorcycles. We have pretty girls from Hawaiian Tropic. It's a beachy town. It's kind of fun to be in. And we have a lot of airplanes. We have a lot of flight schools here. So we have airplanes here. Thank goodness they're not over my house, but they are around all the time. You ever been to a beach area? You see the banners and all that kind of stuff being towed by airplanes. We have a lot of those guys. So if you look up in the air, you're going to see the airplanes because of all the stuff we have here in Daytona Beach. We also have wind. Now, the wind changes depending on your altitude. I know this because I'm a pilot as well. How do you know I'm a pilot? Because I just told you. And that's the way the rule is. How do you know I ride motorcycles? Because I tell you all the time. That's the way the rule is. You know that rule. But if you look up at the airplanes, the wind is blowing. And sometimes it's usually blowing from the west this time of year. And the airplanes are crooked. I don't know about you. That kind of scares me. I mean, think about this. When you look at an airplane, you expect it to be going straight. You've seen the videos of airplanes landing on a windy runway and they're all crooked, right? You've seen that. Scary. It's not that scary when you're flying. It's kind of fun. Just kind of wrestle it down to the ground, right? You have to learn to do it. But when you're looking at an airplane flying and it's going crooked, what are you going to do about that? Well, here's what's happening. The pilot is heading to their destination. They have set their goal. We're going to go here. We are going to take off. We're going to fly to this place, stop, get a $350 hamburger, and then fly home. Yes, by the way, a couple of years ago it was $300. Inflation has kicked in for everybody. But the winds, as they fly, are blowing them off course. So if the wind's coming from the west and you're going from Daytona Beach and you're going to fly up to Georgia, then you're going to end up somewhere in Bermuda. And so what's going to happen if you don't course correct, and that's exactly what pilots call it. It's called a course correction, essentially to make it really easy. What a pilot does is as the wind blows a little bit, the pilot kind of tilts the nose of the airplane a little bit crooked into the wind. He crabs a little bit into the wind, if you will, and he corrects for the wind, and he ends up where he's supposed to go. He ends up with that $375 hamburger. I told you, inflation, it gets worse literally within minutes. It's crazy stuff. Same thing happens when you set your goal. It's identical when you set your goal. Have you ever set a goal, decide what you're going to do, you wrote it down, you maybe posted it up on a Post-it note, or possibly you put it on your wall, you printed it out, the whole thing, or maybe you made a screensaver about it or something like that. You got your goal, right? And you have decided that you want a straight path. But very likely you didn't decide you wanted a straight path. you kind of wanted that anyway. You probably didn't think about it, but that you thought that. I set my goal, I'm going to go do it, right? But suddenly you go to it and the winds blow off course, and you can't figure out why you're not getting there. What do I mean by the wind's blowing you off course? Maybe you're still working for somebody else and you want to do your own thing, but the boss is getting in the way, right? Man, if he didn't keep me so busy, I could do my own job, right? Your spouse disagrees with your plans. You decide what you're going to do and you tell your spouse, they go, what are you going to do that for? And by the way, in my marriage, it usually goes like this. Honey, this is what I'm going to do. Did you change your mind again? That's what you said. You said this last week and now you're doing this. And last year you said, yeah, I'm telling you, I'm a hot mess, man. I vocalize stuff to my wife that I probably should keep my mouth shut. I'm going to learn eventually. Maybe I'll do a podcast on that, then listen to my own podcast. Your kids, your friends, your responsibilities, they keep blowing you further away from your dreams. They do. And so think about it just for a second. Let's make this a group experience. Okay. Think for just a second. Maybe a dream that you had, something you wanted to do. You don't have to call it a dream if you want to. But something you wanted to do and you just can't seem to get to it. Something's always kind of getting in the way. You always got to do one more thing. You always got to make one more correction. You got to get something done. It's that wind correction you need. See, I understand something, and I think you probably do this as well. The winds are going to blow. Life is not going to get easier. It was never designed to be easy, I don't think. Now, I don't know that for sure. That's my common sense just tells me that, that we've made the world easy. We've made life pretty good, but it just tells me that the world and life is not supposed to be that easy. And so if I understand that and I'm optimistic about it and just kind of matter of fact about it, it's like, well, okay, well, great. If it's not going to be easy, let me just make sure I'm okay. It's like if I'm going to go out in the wintertime up north in my car, I'm going to make sure I got chains or got a blanket or, listen, I'm spitballing right now. I haven't lived up north in 40 years. I have no idea what to do up north, but I am going to take sunscreen to the beach. I am going to do that. All right. I know the sun's going to get on me and I'm going to see it's going to happen. It happens in life. It happens in airplanes. It happens in goal setting. In town here, we have a donut shop. It's called Krispy Kreme. You've heard of donuts called Krispy Kreme, right? There's only one in Daytona Beach. It's the corner of Nova Boulevard and International Speedway. And if you've ever been to Daytona, you've driven past it. It is a destination, but you will get blown off course. You know why? Because if I know that hot donut sign is on, I am wind correcting to make sure I arrive at that door while that hot donut sign is on. If that hot donut sign is not on, if the goal is not sufficiently, I am not going to wind correct at all. I'm going to end up somewhere else, probably at Duck Donuts up in Ormond Beach, where I'm going to get a maple bacon donut. And that's good stuff. Life gets in the way. Plan for it. Apple, Spotify, iHeart, everywhere. If I can help you with anything, send me a note. Scott@motivationtomove.com. Help you with your business, help you with your life, help you with all kinds of things. If I resonate with you on the podcast whatsoever, you're probably right. I can help you. I'll see you tomorrow, right here. Oop, I almost forgot to come back, didn't I? I did. That was kind of fun. I like doing that. It's just kind of, let me get a sip of them here. So, you ever thought about doing something like this? There's a lot of conversation online. A lot of the coaching that I do, not a ton of it. Most people that I'm working with, I have a lot of different clients these days, but I do get people that come in and say, "Hey, man, I want to do a podcast, YouTube channel. I want to figure out how to just make all the stuff work." It's a pile of stuff. It really, truly is. It's a lot of work. But I talk about passion. We'll talk about that here a little bit more in a couple of days or a couple of minutes on the podcast time, I guess. And the thing about it, when I come in here and I'm doing this, I'm working overtime, I'm making mistakes, I'm doing the whole thing. And yet, man, I just love being here. I'm just in the groove. My hope for you is that even if it's difficult and it's like lunchtime now, it's getting a little warm in the office these days because it's like 78 degrees outside in early December. I need to pass that along. Legally obligated, by the way, by the Chamber of Commerce of the state of Florida to let you know it's really awesome down here. And we're all full. There's no space here anymore. But houses are going to be cheaper soon. No doubt about that. But nonetheless, I hope you have something, even if it's hard to do, that you can lean into and that you just do. And I just do this, and I certainly don't do it as perfect as other people do in presentation, and sometimes I don't go as deep as some people want to go. That's not the point here. The point is to entertain you and just give you something to think about, is kind of put a pep in your step and move you down the road. And then when it's time to go deeper and it's time to do things, that's what coaching's for. So we do that for. So I hope you have something like that, okay? All right, so one of the things that every podcast, by the way, this week is a kind of a secret message. You didn't know that, did you? Let me tell you how that works. All my clients, probably 2 or 3 dozen conversations this past week. And one thing my clients tell me is, you're sending me special messages, aren't you? I said, oh, did you know? Now, I don't actually plan on that, although sometimes I do. I'll admit it, okay? But usually not. Usually what happens is this. I have a client that's in a certain thing, they're dealing with something. And I send a message. It's like putting a message in a bottle, or maybe giving a message to a pigeon, but we call it a podcast. And I put a little message inside a podcast that very specifically speaks to whatever they're going through, and they hear me say it. And boy, at 6 o'clock in the morning, I get an email back from them. So I'm always listening for what they need help with. And sometimes I'm actually sending it before they need the help and kind of pre-framing something to get them out there. One of the benefits, I guess, of talking to me daily, but thank you for helping me do my podcast as well. But what ends up happening is that we have to learn to listen, because most people I talk to don't listen very much. And I'm going to raise my hand and say, that's me. My mouth runs. Have you noticed? If you're still here, you notice I'm still talking. I haven't taken a break yet. I'm just going, right? My mouth runs. It has since it's always run. Yeah. Always in. And my ears work really well too. I got great hearing, but I had to learn over time to kind of pay attention to that. So I'm going to talk today, a podcast called Listening to Yourself First. I think you'll get a lot out of it. So let's dip to black, roll the music. Let me get my timer up here. And so can I hit that button? Oh, I can. No, I'm sorry. I just lapped it. That doesn't make any sense at all. See, this is a problem. Okay, so there's my timer. Let me start my timer, dip the black, roll the music, and let's do a podcast. So it would come as no surprise that sometimes a guy that does what I do, my mouth works really, really well. It's kind of continuous and fast. My ears work really well too, although I don't always use them exactly the way I ought to. You too? Oh my gosh.
I need a boost. I need a daily boost. I need a boost. I need a daily boost.
I love my little bouncy logo there. Oh, you didn't see the logo. That's probably because you're listening to the audio over there on Apple and Spotify and iHeart and all these other places that we do this. But we're recording the program today on YouTube as well. Just getting started on that. Love to have you. It's a behind the scenes. It's a recording of the recording. And what you don't know is we've already messed up like 3 times and I didn't edit it out. So they got the show. They got the bloopers. They got everything. You didn't get it. And plus, they get all 5 days in one shot before you get them. So just search out Daily Boost Podcast on YouTube and you'll find me there. And do me a favor. Go back about 12 years and look at the the beginning of Scott. Yeah, that's the best way I'm going to say it. That's pre-hair color. This is post-hair color that you're seeing now. So I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, my mouth works really well. That's a compliment to me. I mean, I've got the gift of gab, been told that before. I use it, I think, for good, not evil, although it has been used for evil before. I will tell you that. I'll admit that. But when I was growing up, man, that little gift of gab, that mouth running, I was a very energetic kid. I was very enthusiastic, very excitable. I just had a friend of mine, a client of mine, he just sent me a note. He said, dude, you act like a 25-year-old. I said, thank you very much. I don't plan on changing. I've never changed. I will get to my funeral someday and say, what happened? It's odd. It's really weird. But I've learned some lessons along the way, even though throughout my life, I've challenged almost everything. I mean it, everything. You too. And usually with my mouth, by the way. My mouth talks me into lots of problems, but I've also learned to get myself out of a lot of problems with it. And I've learned that maybe I shouldn't talk myself into those problems. But a lot of people that were responsible for making me a good person taught me some valuable lessons. And I began to listen many, many, many years ago because I understood that I had this thing. I could just communicate like this. Listen twice as much as you speak. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. That was probably said by some fancy person, probably could chat GPT it and figure out who said that, right? But nonetheless, it resonated with me. So I've really worked that hard over the years. When I got into coaching and helping people, I really very much became a very good listener and I keep a mouth shut and then I would do my thing. And in the past couple of years, I read the Bible, started hanging around with, going to church and hanging around with some really good people there. And guess what I learned? It was crazy. I know. There's actually stuff in the Bible about listening more. I kind of live in fool's territory sometimes, don't I? If I don't listen, I don't want to be a fool. So there's stuff. It's a good book. There's stuff in there. You know something I learned? Come here real close, okay? Sometimes people talk about stuff, personal development stuff. Stuff is like, just this stuff. I know where they got it. I do. Maybe they don't even know where they got it, but I know where they got it. Anyway, let's move on. So you probably heard listen twice as much as you speak. You have 2 ears and you have 1 mouth for a reason. In today's fast-paced world that we live in, I think knowing when to zipper your lips, I think is a pretty It's pretty critical. But I've also learned to take that advice to a whole nother level. And here's how I did it, by the way. It's a concept I call going dark. Now, when I say go dark, I'm saying go dark and choose to listen to others less and listen to yourself more. Now, don't get me wrong here. I want you paying attention to everybody else. But what I'm finding is in many cases that people that I'm talking to that want to kind of make their lives better have not taken the time to listen to what they're saying. So they're kind of fighting. They're fighting. And they're listening to everybody else for what they're going to say. And then they're talking too much and the whole thing. When you go inside yourself and say, no, I'm going to shut my mouth. I'm going to listen to the world. I'm going to pay attention. We're going to interact with those people around me. I'm going to be caring. I'm going to listen, but I'm going to listen to me too. In fact, I might listen to me twice as much as I listen to somebody else. That's hard to do sometimes. People that do what I do for a living, there's something we do really well, I think. We listen to ourselves, we think, and we ponder, and we keep our mouth shut. And then we go out, we work with other people, and we listen to what they're saying. And because we know who we are and how we think and where we stand on things, it's easy to help them. That's why I say to do this. And it's hard because we have Google, we have Zoom, we have text, we have AI. Raise your hand if you've been up at 4 o'clock in the morning and say, hey, AI, let me run something past you, buddy. Yeah, we've all done it in some way. Some have done it really in scary ways. I brainstorm a lot with it. But see, it's taken it outside of me. You'll hear me say, I use my Scott logic all the time. And something else I'll say from time to time is, what would Scott do? What that means is an accumulation of wisdom over the years has allowed me to say, okay, wait a second, let me listen to myself with all the noise going around me and see what I think I should be doing. It's like we've lost permission to listen to ourselves and to do for ourselves. It's like we can't move forward without social approval of those around us. And what happens is, we kind of halfway listen, then we run our mouth a bunch and it doesn't work. But something extraordinary happens when you give yourself the space to listen to yourself more, twice as much. Take the time to think. And you'll learn, again, back to what I do for a living, I think most of the time that I'm alive, I'm trying to decide to do something. I'm trying to think. I'm thinking things through. I'm listening to what my heart is saying. And I'm trying to find the path. And sometimes that goes on for years to do that. And eventually I go, okay, got it. So your mind and your talents just kind of flourish. Your positive energy kind of rebounds. If you're feeling down a little bit, it's probably because you're not listening to what your heart's telling you to do. You haven't stopped to listen. You feel more present. You find more meaning in your life. Going dark means life is brighter. It means good stuff is about to happen. So you got to get this right. You got to listen to me when I say this. I'm not telling you just, hey, to push everybody else and don't listen to anybody else. I'm not saying that. I'm saying shut your mouth a little bit. Pay attention to the world around you, but take the time to listen twice as much to yourself as anybody else and come to what you believe. When I started years ago in radio, I was young. I was 18. And then in this business, I determined something very early on. And it was that if I didn't absolutely knew where I stood, if I didn't know what my values were and what was really important to me, I had no business talking to anybody else. Only way to get there was to learn first and then to kind of audit what I learned, to listen to myself all the time. Apple, Spotify, iHeart. That's where you can find me. I do a lot of coaching. I run group cohorts. I run masterminds. I do all kinds of cool stuff. A lot of advisory work for companies. If you have any interest, if I resonate with you at all, the easiest way to find out is we can resonate together. Just send an email to scott@motivationtomove.com. I'll give you some more formal stuff later on, but you can start with that. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. Yeah, that was kind of fun. Wow, I like that one. That was neat. I need to get a drink here, man. A little coffee. It's lukewarm now. Did you notice how I had to cough in the middle of that thing? That's it's kind of weird. I'd kind of forgotten about that when you're doing audio. If I cough, I hit the cough switch, and you can't hear me cough. But when I'm doing video, then you can hear me cough. Did I do this many already? Is this crazy? Have I done that many already? Behind the scenes, as we do things here, let me get a drink of water here as well. Two things. Here comes some wisdom. Wisdom bomb, ready? Two things that I think, and there's a lot of things, but there's two things I think that change everything about your life. And one is drink a lot of water. Consistent water. Most people dehydrated all the time. Just drink a lot of water. I don't care what you drink. This is actually bubbly water, and I have, the bubble cans here. I actually have two on my desk. I like the bubbles, so I drink the bubble water. And a lot of water. The other thing that I think changes fundamentally everything about what you do and makes you younger, and science has proved me out these days. I've said it for years because I just observed it. Science has now said this: lift heavy weights. Go to the gym, lift heavy weights. Oh, Scott, I don't have to do that. You don't have to at all. But as you get older, you're gonna be glad you did if you do that. Okay, so drink a lot of water, lift heavy weights, listen to my podcast, and learn a lot of stuff. So as I go through this, people say, "Hey, Scott, man, are you where's all this coming from?" I'm actually scrolling through some notes that are in front of me now. You can't see them; they're actually on a teleprompter, and I'm just scrolling through them. It's not a teleprompter; I didn't type them in. These are notes that came right off my. I use Scrivener. If you guys are writers, I use Scrivener, and I just take Scrivener and I throw it up on my teleprompter, my Elgato teleprompter. And I scroll through it. What that allows me to do is take the notes that I get from my coaching calls, and I take them all week long. I'm able to come in and do a podcast and scroll through what I was doing. So as I'm talking to you on these podcasts, my fingers are over here on the right-hand side, and I'm scrolling up and down and just picking and choosing things. So I'm not reading a script, but I am keeping myself on track because God knows somebody has to keep me on track. Okay. So you want to do this? Oh, I have a credit card on my desk. That meant I spent money today. My wife's going to walk in and see this credit card and say, "What'd you spend money on?" This is not my favorite card. I like this card a lot. My other one is platinum, and it's really expensive, and it's my favorite card because I can buy really big stuff on it. But I don't because I learned something a long time ago. I got to pay it back. It's like, nope, not going to do that. Okay. So you will hear me talk around here a little bit about, well, face it, it's a lot, about facing your passion. Facing your passion to me is having the courage to turn into your passion. Let me tell you a quick story here to kind of put this in perspective. I noticed this a long time ago. I noticed a lot of people that, assuming they knew what they wanted to do, sometimes they have to discover that. Remember, if you don't know your purpose is to find your purpose, right? So they kind of know what they want to do, and yet they never quite get to it. And the years pass. It's like, I got to wait. I got some kids now. I got some debt. Man, it's just a crazy thing. And so when I talk about facing your passion, I want you just to turn into it and go for it. Now, one thing that affected me as I got a little bit older, and I don't really believe in retirement. It took me a few years to figure out that, no, I'm not going to retire. I do what I love to do. Just going to keep doing it. But what I realized, I began to get all these emails from retirement groups and Facebook groups and all that kind of stuff. Really, the past 10 years, I was getting it. And so I found a group that was on Facebook. It's called Epic Retirement. Y'all should check it out, okay? And it's a great group. It got 500,000 people in it. And I watched it for a little while and it became an observation of people and what they do. And it's sad. It's sad. And what I found was that so many people, 45 years of getting out of bed, driving to the office before the sun came up, working all day long, driving home and the sun went down there. It was dark when they got home. And 45 years, and they retired. And like, man, now what am I going to do? They had no plans. Some people did have plans, so they waited all that time. I walked away from that 25, 26 years ago. I said, screw that. I'm going to do it today. I'll make my own way. So when I say face your passion, it's that. It's don't wait. And it's also don't give up everything and don't be stupid. It's get out there and figure out how to make things work and find somebody who's done it before and figure it out, right? So that's what face your passion is all about. So I'm sorry, I'm on a pedestal, right? Am I allowed to do that? I don't know. What are the rules of YouTube? I have no idea. It doesn't really matter to me. Oh man, that's going to hurt. Okay. Let's talk about the fundamental concept in face your passion and how to go doing it, how to get from where you are today to where you want to go tomorrow. And I know this is fundamental because I know where I got the idea from. I know I use it, but more importantly, when I put it out to my tribe, it came back to me in my language. They brought it back to me again. And every day I hear exactly what I'm going to tell you today. They bring back to me without me bringing it up. So that's how I know it resonates. That's how I know they're using it. And that's how it works. Okay. That's some inside stuff. So I'm going to push the button, go to dark, going to play the music, hopefully push the graphic button, which doesn't really matter because I'm not going to do the daily stuff anyway, but I want it to be perfect. Okay. So here we go. So there's something down inside of you that says, you gotta go do this. I was born to be this person. Let's go do it, right? You want to face your passion, if you will, but you're not. Why is that? Let's talk about that today.
I need a boost. I need a daily boost. I need a boost. I need a daily boost.
It is the Daily Boost. From motivationtomove.com, my name is Scott Smith. Good to have you here. Thanks for stopping into the podcast today. All over the place. We've been just everywhere. Apple Podcasts and Spotify and iHeart. And y'all, Spotify people need to get on it because we don't have that many people on Spotify. It's like really, frankly, on about 15% of what we do. Apple's big, but you know something? Y'all use Player FM? I met the guys from Player at a conference a ways back. We have a huge following on Player FM. I don't even know what it is. Not really. But I'm glad to have you today. And we are doing the recording on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and search for Daily Boost Podcast, or you can go to dailyboostpodcast.com/YouTube, and it'll take you right there. And you're going to see a whole bunch of videos where I had a beard, but maybe I was hungover one day and I did it anyway, when I was fat, when I was skinny, when I had brown hair, middle hair, bad color. And even and today, which is no color, I am the post-color. I'm not quite a silver fox yet, but I'm working on it. So go to YouTube, okay? dailyboostpodcast.com/YouTube. I'm sorry about that. All right. So how do you get to where you want to go? How do you get from here to there? How do you do that? That's kind of the thing. Most people tell me, whenever I talk to them, they'll all say, dude, just tell me how to do it. That's it. Yeah, in the beginning, it was like, give me clarity, please. Well, once you go down the clarity road, I freaking know what I want now. I just don't know how to get it, right? Is that true to you? Raise your hand and say, hallelujah. You better believe it is. Most people just want the map, tell me how to get it. So I spend a lot of my time with maps. That's kind of what I do. And it's awesome. How do you get from here to where you want to go? That is a question that I think most people at some point are going to ask, particularly when you have big adventures in your life that you want to do. So what you need is a damn bridge. Honestly, that's what you need. Let me tell you a story, and I'll color this thing up for you a little bit. Many of you have heard this story before, but it's just so true. A few years ago, I was out in, is it Nevada, where the Hoover Dam is? I've been to the Hoover Dam several times now because the Hoover Dam is between Las Vegas and the Grand Canyon. I like the Grand Canyon. I like it more than Las Vegas, but you fly in, you drive, boom, you go to the Hoover Dam. And I always stop. And is it just me? Am I the only one who stops on the Hoover Dam? And because I watched all the documentaries, I wonder how many people are actually buried in the Hoover Dam. Is it just me? I don't know. Anyway, I'm on the top of the Hoover Dam. It's pretty awe-inspiring. It's pretty cool. It's what an engineering miracle it's there. And Lake Mead, even though basically Lake Mead is absolutely gorgeous, but every time I go, there's like, whoa, where'd all the water go? That's in one direction. The other direction is the Colorado River. And I say, whoa, where'd all the water go? I don't know. But I'm standing on one of the biggest engineering marvels in history. But something at the time was more exciting. That was the new bridge that was happening high above the canyon. And my first thought when I saw this new bridge going up, now this has been about, last time I was there, it's been a long time ago, been 15, 18 years, something like that. They were building a bypass to the bridge, which made total sense to me. It's like, why didn't they think about this before? It's like, I'm going to build this big old bridge and put like billions and billions of gallons of water behind it. And if it breaks, it's going to ruin a bunch of people's days. And then we let a bunch of cars and semi-trucks drive across the top of it. It just made no sense. But I grew up in the 70s. I mean, most of what we did in the 70s made no sense. Lawn darts and clackers. We'll start with that. And you can figure that out if you haven't been there before. So I like the new bridge. Construction was well underway, and I couldn't help but notice how the process was the same for what I wanted to get in life. And it was me at the time, because I think about you when I'm out there, but typically I'm thinking about how do I get here from here to there, right? So I'm looking up there and go, oh, look at that. There is a foundation over there, and then they build this bridge, and you end up on the other side. That was kind of a cool way to go. Evel Knievel tried it on the Snake River Canyon back in the 70s as well, another reference to the 70s. It didn't work because he didn't have a bridge. But I looked at that. It just made sense to me that you'd have to build a bridge in life to get what you wanted. So I started kind of applying it to what I was teaching. And here's the thing. When I talk about facing your passion, what I believe is this. You want something new, and you're just kind of stumbling and bumbling along. I know a lot of people say to me, Scott, that's not how it works. Nope, we have a plan. This is what we do. God has a plan for us. That's what we're doing. I agree. God's got a plan for you, but he gave you free will. He's like, here's the big plan. Here's the secret. Not going to tell you what it is or when it's going to happen. Y'all get out there and have some fun. Telling you. Did God have an accent like that? Not really sure exactly, but we stumble and bumble along. It's what we do. Then you find something that gets your interest. And you find you're into it. For me, it was motorcycles. It's flying airplanes. It's my wife. I didn't find my kids. Found my wife, that got my interest, I got my kids. Crazy how that works. Scuba diving, do the same way. You find something, it gets your interest. This podcast thing I do these days that I've been doing now 20 years. I didn't know I was going to do a podcast. I didn't know a podcast existed. I just bumbled and stumbled into it via Google search. I said, I can do that. Maybe I'll do it. Here I am. Yeah, I know it was a big grandiose plan. Scott, what was your master plan for becoming massively successful as a podcaster? Google search? We get our passion. We build interest. We find purpose in what we do. Over time, if you're in my world, we've had a big impact. That gives me meaning. And when I die someday, there'll be a legacy of what I've done. Don't know what you're going to say, but I hope it's at least halfway decent. He was funny, and he said some cool stuff. See, if you're building something in your life, you're basically crossing a canyon. You're crossing a river, right? And if you don't do it right, you're going to fall into that river. It's not going to be good. So the key to building anything we want is to build a couple of foundations and to build the span. So in my world, we used to call it build the present foundation, build the future foundation. That's where it started. And then one day, just out of the blue, because I'm this kind of guy, I said, dudes, you need to build a peaceful base. And the reason I said you need to build a peaceful base is because most people were freaking out. Let me tell you what freaking out means. It means that most people come to me for coaching or some kind of advisory category, whatever we're doing, and their life is maybe messy. Everybody's life is a little messy, right? They're trying to figure stuff out now, today, right? Or maybe they have set their plan to the future and it's not working out. They're like, well, that's messy. Or maybe they've decided where they are. Now they're going across the bridge and something's messy there. So we're trying to figure it out. And lots of times, if I'm really being honest, it's money. People get all excited and they don't settle themselves. They don't have the bills paid. They don't have their home. They don't have their relationships good. They don't have all this stuff good. They don't have a peaceful base to work from. So what I'm always saying is, okay, first place we start, we build the first foundation from here to where we want to go. We make sure we have a peaceful base here today. That's what we do. We feel good about it. We're ready to go. We're strong. And then I say, okay, where do you want to go? Well, we're not going to build a future peaceful base today. You're not in the future yet, but we're at least going to begin to build it, which means we're going to take some classes, get some certifications, expand our network, all these things I talk about all the time. We're going to get to the point that we at least somewhat know where we're going. And when I say somewhat, consider it a draft. You're not going to know exactly where you're going, what you're going to do. Why? Because you haven't started it yet. I am not arrogant enough to think that I can head off in a direction of doing something I've never done before and know exactly how I'm going to get there and what it's going to be when I get there. I'm smart enough and wisdom has been invading my body long enough to know that I'm stupid. We all are, because we've never been there before. And if anybody ever tells you what it's going to be like exactly, and they haven't done it exactly themselves, run away and take your credit card with you, okay? So the goal is this. The goal is to do everything in your power to build your peaceful present base, everything in your power to draft out a peaceful pleasant future. That's what you want to do. And then in between, consider the bridge, your roadmap, your plan, your framework. It's hard to get a framework to work if you don't know where you're going or you're uncomfortable today. How many times have you done this? And just be honest, think about this for a moment. How many times have you known you're kind of on the edge and you're Googling one night and you got this idea, maybe you need to make some more money and you find this thing and you spend some money to go figure out how to make the money. But the truth is you spend your last money on a credit card and you got to make $1 billion in 30 days or it's not going to work for you. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's impossible to work. You don't have a peaceful base. So you need to build a strong base, understand to the best of your ability what a strong, peaceful future base is. Again, it's a draft, it's going to change. And then construct a roadmap, steps, a framework that will begin to get you closer to where you want to go. That's all there is to it. It fails in every other case. So if we can take a breath and do that, life is good. See you on Apple, see you on Spotify, see you on iHeart. And all over the place, wherever you find me, I will be, okay? If I can help you, if I resonate with you, just send a note to scott@motivationtomove.com. All kinds of coaching. Got a couple openings right now, as a matter of fact. Looking for a couple of cool people, all right? So let me know if I can help. Just send me a note, all right? Have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday. It was kind of cool. It was fun. Yeah, I'm done. Yay. I'm looking at my watch right now. I think it's lunchtime. I think my wife came home. You know what happened? She got a flat tire last night. My wife, she has a kind of a cool car, but she tears up tires. And last night she broke a rim. I'm like, what the heck did you do? And I've seen her drive. She goes through brakes and tires, and she broke a rim last night. I don't want to know. She comes home safe. She cooks well. She treats me right. So whatever. We have to go take care of that today. Evidently, that will be part of my job to do that. Listen, thank you. I appreciate you spending time with me today and having some fun as we come inside the studio. As time goes on here, I will be more comfortable with all the buttons and I'll show you some more behind the scenes, and I will get my rhythm in between and fewer mistakes and all that stuff. But I hope I was able to share at least a little wisdom with you, some things maybe you haven't known before. I hope I was able to fill some time, maybe an hour on the treadmill instead of a half an hour, and I hope I did some good podcasts for you. Send your friends over to YouTube. Go subscribe to all the shows wherever they happen to be. And I haven't done this before, but why not? When the show posts on YouTube, you can make some comments. I will watch the comments. Let's jump in. Give me your feedback. Be nice, okay? Just be nice. I'm just a fragile guy. And otherwise, we'll do it again next week. I'll see you then.